All right, let's have a little fun. Let's just slow it down in this video just a little bit. Let's just have a conversation. You see the title, Detroit Lions found their best fit yet. And here's the unique thing. I think with the draft class that we just brought in, we could talk about some undrafted free agents. We could talk about bringing players back in free agency. But there is a very clear pattern of evidence here of what the Detroit Lions want to do as far as fit is concerned. And I'm not talking about fit just as far as personnel and what they can do on the field. I'm not just talking about fit and what they can do with their RAS score and how athletic they are. I'm talking about culture fit. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have been around long enough that we understand what type of a player they're looking for, yet every year they bring in new players. Every year they get in a new draft class, and every year I think to myself, man, they did it again, but somehow better. So what I want to do is I want to go back to an older draft class and talk about what that fit looks like. I want to look ahead to next year and the schedule and talk about why we're going to need this type of character players on the team. And I'm going to ask you right now the question. When you're looking for a player to play for the Detroit Lions, what is the most important thing to you? Is it talent? Is it athleticism? Or is it culture fit? What is it? What is the most important thing to you? And it's kind of funny. Like, I did a video yesterday talking about bringing in Clowney, and it's very clear people don't think he's a culture fit because they hate him. Like, a lot of people dislike the take of like, hey, maybe we bring in Clowney. And I think it's because people view him as a clown. And it's one of those things where you have to decide if that fits in your culture because the stats back it up. He is an effective player. He just is. But that's not what we're here to talk about. This is really interesting. Colton Pouncey wrote a phenomenal article on how they fit, on how all the draft picks fit not only on the field, but within the team's culture. And I went back, and it's very interesting. The 2021 draft. This was the first draft in the Brad Holmes era. And you can see it right here. 3 2021 draft picks are highest graded at their position. Are you kidding me? To find 3 highest graded at their position in your entire roster is hard. To do it in one draft is insane. And those 3 players, Penei Sewell is the highest graded offensive tackle since he's been drafted overall. Highest graded offensive tackle. 3rd round pick, Aleem McNeil, is the highest graded defensive tackle at his position since he's been drafted. All right, from that draft class. I want to be clear. Like, I'm sure Aaron Donald had a higher graded, all right, I was higher graded at D tackle. Maybe Chris Jones, but he has been the highest graded in that entire draft class. And then you know who the next one is. It is Amon-Ra St. Brown. And he was a 4th round pick. What do each of these guys have in common? They have a lunch pail mentality. They have a mean streak. They have a chip on their shoulder. You look at Penei Sewell, that was the book on him from the beginning. Like, that he's going to come in, he's going to play hard, he's going to give you everything he's got, and he's going to play hard. Same with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I remember reading the quote. His coach said, I think if you cut open his brain, instead of a brain, there'll be a football. Like, this is a guy who loves, breathes football. We always talk about 17 receivers that were drafted ahead of him, how he can say every single one of their names. And then you have Aleem McNeil, who's a guy that came in, worked hard, but then he completely altered and changed his body. He was good. He became elite. And these are all guys that are a culture fit. They all have talent, but they are a culture fit is what gave them success. And the reason I keep talking about the culture fit is this. These are our opponents this year. Now, when I look at our opponents, I look at the home slate. And I say to myself, like, yup, you got 1, 2, 3 playoff teams, like, from last year out of the 8 opponents. Oh, no, Steelers. Did they end up making it? Anyways, I think you can go 7-1 at home. But this away slate is out of control. When you're talking about, obviously, your 3 division opponents, and then every other opponent is a playoff team. You're talking 3 or 4 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL all top 10 quarterbacks against the Bengals, the Ravens. Yes, Stafford and the Rams. Say what you want about Hurts and the Eagles. Daniels and the Commanders. And then you look at the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. That is a slate where you have to have people with the right character fit in order to get through a grueling season like this. You are going to take your lumps. We're not going 15-2 this year against that schedule. We're not going 15-2. You want to go 12-5, maybe 13-4, maybe 11-6. You want to make the playoffs, but you're going to take your lumps because you are playing phenomenal caliber teams every single week. So when you look at what was drafted and you see what came in, you realize that there are very similar people to what was successful. All right, let's start with defensive tackle Tyleik Williams. Very similar to Aleem McNeil, who I talked about earlier. His character fit. When he first got to Ohio State as a defensive tackle, he weighed somewhere between 360 and 370 pounds. He worked hard his freshman year, got with a nutritionist, and slimmed down, and he started the next year at 317 pounds. All right, it's just like Aleem McNeil did. He just did it as a college freshman. He understood the importance of getting his body right, and he's been a good player since then. That's the start. Then you look at the next guy, Tate Rutledge. All right, going to be donning number 69 for the Lions. He was a team captain for what is arguably the best run program in college football in Georgia. He received 95% of the votes to be a team captain on that time. But he's also not hyper serious all the time. He is a lunch pail mentality. He's going to go to work and he's going to get the job done. These are character fits. And when I use the title, they found their best fit yet, then you have Isaac Tesla, right? This is a guy who wasn't even on the radar for teams. He got invited to the Hulu Bowl. I didn't even know that was a thing. And because he was invited to the Hulu Bowl, he played so well at that and at practices and impressed the coaches so much that he got an invite to the Senior Bowl, where he then continued to do well and nail the interviews. There were 3 teams picking at 71, 72, and 74 that it is now being told that they all were seriously considering or were going to draft Tesla if the Lions didn't draft him at 70. Because he not only is an athletic marvel, but he is an unbelievably strong character guy. Of course he is. He's from Michigan, right? He's from Hudsonville, Michigan. Went to the same high school my wife went to, right? There's got to be something good there. Then you move down to the next guy. It's character fit. Then you get Miles Frazier, right? It feels like this should be a 3rd-round pick, and it's a 5th-round pick. And he's a guy that was just like a mauler. He's known as a mauler. And he wanted to transfer to the SEC to prove his worth against better competition. These are the things that you like, all right? But nobody takes the cake more than Ahmed Hassanin. Like, he's the guy. AH. There's another guy at defensive end with those same initials. Pretty good player. All right, let's hope he follows in that footsteps. All right? He is on the phone saying, I will die for you, coach. I will die on that field for this team. I'm so excited to go to this team. I don't know if there's a better fit. He is a coach's dream. He's a high character guy who never stops. And then you have Dan Jackson. How many of us have already fallen in love with this guy? Out of Georgia. A former walk-on, a 0-star recruit. A 0-star recruit. Spent his weekends in Athens going to Bulldogs games, desperately wanted to play at Georgia, ended up walking on in 2019. And he passed up scholarship opportunities because he knew he wanted to be a Georgia Bulldog, and he ends up being a starter and team captain. All right, so we got both Georgia team captains. And Brad Holmes continues the trend of pulling from programs that have the best coaching, period. Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State. Hate admitting that because I'm a Michigan fan, right? Then you get 2 out of Georgia, 1 out of LSU, right? Like, actually 3 out of Georgia. Last year it was Alabama and Iowa. This year it's Georgia and Ohio State and LSU. Like, it's just honestly really impressive. So when I talk about fit, and I talked about earlier in this video, what's most important to you? I am a blend of I need to see a level of athleticism. I do. I need to see that. But what's most important to me is character fit. Because as this team continues to get better, and we continue to see schedules like this because we're consistently finishing first, second in the NFC North, so we're getting that. I'm not sure if everybody knows how the schedule works, right? Every team has the same 14 games in our division. The only difference is the 3 games based on where we finish. So we were first place the last 2 years, so we get 3 first-place teams. We get 3 first-place teams, right? And those first-place teams this year, I believe, are the Commanders, the Chiefs, and maybe not the Eagles, because we play the NFC East. All right, so the Commanders, the Chiefs, and then one of these guys over here. And the Bucs again, because we play the Bucs every single year. So those are our 3 different games. Whereas if we had finished second place, we would have been playing the Falcons instead of the Bucs. We would have been playing, is it the Chargers or Broncos instead of the Chiefs? And we would have been playing the it's not Washington. We're playing the NFC East. Instead of playing the Rams, we probably would have been playing the Seahawks, right? So that's the way it kind of looks. And as you continue to get the record that we have, you are going to consistently play very difficult NFL schedules. And it's those 3 games that can make or break. We had a first-place schedule last year. We ended up 15-2. This year, it's just kind of tricky because all of our away games, we'll find out where they're played, right? You got Cincinnati, cold weather climate. Baltimore, cold weather climate. Washington, kind of cold weather climate. Kansas City, cold weather climate. So if those games are earlier in the year, we're okay, right? Philly, cold weather climate. We are going to have the traditional, like, Jared Goff with the cold weather. Is this a thing? No, because he's wearing gloves now. But still, that's what you're looking for. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.